almost fucking choking on my coffee. Dorrie, just Dorrie.
Spit take.
God damn it.
Okay. So our last record, we were talking about the Rajneesh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the
Winder's watching that now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's fascinating.
Because Winder grew up in
the Dalles.
Yeah.
Where that shit was happening.
Like near you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if well, now I spent a lot of time in the Dalles because my mom lives there. And I grew up in Madras in Central Oregon, so it's a 90-mile distance. But you
were there a lot.
Yeah, and the Rajneesh Puram, where the cult was living
he's
on.
Got the terms down.
Oh yeah, I grew up with that shit.
You know?
That was in between the two, right out in the desert area there. Mm-hmm. So, having watched the documentary, I thought for sure it would be a lot more of my town. Madras,
right? Because
it felt like it was kind of the epicenter of what was going on, but it turns out the Dalles, especially if you watch the documentary, the Dalles was a big part of it.
Took the brunt of it, yeah.
Yeah, and they poisoned a bunch of people there with
the
food poisoning.
Or something, yeah. That restaurant's still there.
Yeah, well, that's the Arctic Circle is now a Thai place.
Oh,
but it's weird. It was weird seeing, places that are just. Well, I remember that, and I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember. I think we had watched it here. And then we talked, and then like that weekend, we went and saw my mom. Well, my stepdad used to work for Motorola. He was a salesman for them back in those days, and he used to sell radios to them. And they're like, if you see the guys with the machine guns and talking on the walkie-talkies, he sold them those walkie-talkies. So that was kind of a fun twist.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
And we're watching the thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I met her," and I think he might have met Sheila. If he didn't, he certainly saw her.
She's still alive.
Yeah, she was a big part of the. She was central in the entire thing, and now she's a big part of the documentary. But and then he was vegetarian at the time, and that was a vegetarian society,
right?
And he said, yeah, they had great food out there at their cafe and stuff like that.
When they weren't poisoning people.
Well, except for that. Yeah. So that was kind of fun to get that inside scoop.
See, that is cool. Shit like that is cool.
He said that each of those radios in like 1984 were like $2,000 a piece because they had military grade encoding on them so that they couldn't be listened in on and stuff. And he's like, I don't know why you need it, but I'll take the commission.
No shit. And you know what's weird is that you think about when you're immersed in whatever it might be,
right?
Whether it's a gigantic religious cult or a production
or a labor union
or wow. Or, I mean, something that you are fully immersed in. Mm-hmm. And it's like a group thing. It's not just one person, I'm really into knitting. I mean, it's like a huge endeavor and a significant part of your life. You never fast forward 20 years and go, wow, that's over.
This is going to look weird.
Or you just don't think about it. You think it's all encompassing.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. It's like your college years. That's all you think about. And then 20 years from now, you go, oh. Well, that's over. Yeah. You get so involved in that moment and so involved, and then it's gone.
Well, like our conversation with Susie talking about all the projects and things that she did, all the electrical work that I do with the plays and productions we've been in, things like that. That is your focus. That is your life at the time. That is your everything. Right. And then you're going to turn around and you'll do another one or something, and you'll completely forget. You will have to sit and think about. Think of towns you've lived in, swaths of your life, relationships you've had, things that were the end-all, be-all, and then you go,
now it's like,
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like,
That's a strange phenomenon.
Oh, it is, and we get so involved in stuff, and then we're just not anymore.
It's reason enough to, if you can keep this in mind, and we never can because we're always in the moment, but I get pretty pissed off and worked up on a daily basis. And
so much so that you had to raise that first syllable. Pretty pissed off.
A little bit. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I've been in how many situations where I've been this mad at whatever, and I can't even remember it. Probably not worth getting that fucking worked up about.
But here's a friend of mine who was a master of the practical jokes. Mm-hmm. Wait 6 months was his mantra.
Okay.
If somebody does something to you, and it angers you or frustrates you, or it's like, I want to get even with you, wait 6 months. If you're still feeling it, it's worth it.
Then you need to kill that person.
If you don't, it's like, not a big deal. So you wait 6 months just to go. And if you've totally forgotten about it, then clearly it wasn't that big of a revenge issue.
Yeah.
But if it's still sticking in your craw after 6 months, then be creative, go for it. I don't know the reasoning or why he did this, but it's his uncle procured. She's right there by the door sleeping.
Right.
Procured
C4.
No, that'd be nice. The little, for lack of a better term, the little pebbles that make natural gas smell.
Oh, okay.
Because natural gas has no smell.
Right.
We make it smell. So we're like, natural gas, run. Right. The pebbles that kind of give it that smell, pebbles is probably not the correct.
Oh, I'm sure that's what they call it.
Yeah, the pebble. This lady, I guess, really pissed him off. So he took these, and you can't really see them. They're kind of small. They're very, very small. Middle of the night, put them all over her front yard.
Ah, that's a good one.
So she woke up in the morning smelling natural gas. Long story short, this lady ended up having to have one of those big things to dig out dirt. The big
backhoe had to come in.
Backhoes ripped up her whole front yard looking for these leaking pipes.
Wow, that's a good
the master. And then the other one, actually, Chris, I believe, did. If you take a condom, and we talked about this before, you open a condom, stick it in a gas tank. Oh, it does fuck all worse than sugar. Because what happens is, and you know this, you're Captain Carr. Are the lights going out? Am I having a stroke?
Something just happened.
Did Corvallis forget to pay its electric bill because
the
sun just went away?
I think we had a cloud.
Anyway, so the condom, you pop it in there when the car's obviously off, and it's floating.
Right.
Well, you start the car, you drive the car, it works its way up into the fuel line.
Oh.
And it will fill with fuel, and the car will just go and shut off.
Right.
So then you wait 5 minutes, and you start it again. It's fine.
And
you have to keep taking it back to they don't know what the fuck happened. By the time they find out, it disintegrates the gas.
Yeah.
That's genius.
That is.
So my friends, listener, if you have somebody who's an asshole,
there you go.
There it is.
Wow. Yeah, there's a bunch of old.
I think I talked about that before.
I don't know if you have. I don't know that there's people don't seem to do as much shit is going on in the world today, and bullying and all of whatever fucking horribleness. It seems like it's all kind of mental warfare. There's not a lot of practical jokes going on like that. I remember hearing a bunch as a kid. You jack up a car and put it on blocks just like a half an inch off the ground. You hop in the car and can't move.
We picked up Lynn's. She had a '76 Honda, which basically looked like a roller skate. Those yellow ones.
Oh yeah.
The boys came over, picked it up, and turned it around perpendicular in the driveway so she couldn't get out.
Right, yeah. That's popular to do with Matildas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like a roller skate. They did that. I put, even when I was teaching, the last day of school, when I was teaching in Arizona, I put Josh's 10-speed up on the roof of the office. Because it was funny.
Yeah, that would be.
Where's my bike? I don't know where your bike is. Look up. I'm like, yeah, happy last day of school. But yeah, they don't do those. Actually, practical jokes now, we call them mass shootings. That
is not as funny.
Yeah, no, they've lost their humor. They've gone right to just mass murder.
Yeah,
they've skipped the whole practical joke.
Got to get back to that.
God, it's true though.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't worry about is someone to put sugar in our gas tank? No, it's is someone to shoot my face off? You're listening to The Tangent Lounge featuring Electric Gary and Dorrie Just Dorrie. You can find us on Podbean, Podcast Addict, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, thetangentlounge.com, and thetangentlounge@gmail.com.
So I recently, last weekend, I don't remember where I was or what I was doing, but I paid cash for a few different things in a few different places, and I got back some change. And in that change were 5 quarters. Of those 5 quarters, 2 from 1969.
Is that significant somehow?
It must be. I thought it was. It just
okay. Because I didn't know if is that like when you were born. No, that can't be.
But what are the odds that you would have 2 coins that have been around that long?
You're right. I just never paid any attention. I mean, I don't change doesn't happen to me anymore.
Okay.
I don't even.
We fear change.
Especially if changed from 1969.
Yes.
No, that is kind of cool though. That 2 at once. Somebody probably just flushed those into the system all at once.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Probably stole Dad's coin collection.
Yeah.
I heard about that. I might have been in Madras when I was growing up. A woman, either her husband died or this is what it was. He had a rare coin collection, and the woman he asked her to go take it and put it in the safe deposit box at the bank, and she deposited them.
Did he divorce her ass? Because that's just
I think
that's just straight up dumb.
Might have upset.
I have hypocrisy of the week.
Okay.
I just thought of that.
Okay.
Where I do the aqua jogging now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of older women.
You need a GoPro.
I do. The water. Oh, you know I want a waterproof GoPro.
Oh, I thought you said awkward jogging. I'm sorry.
No. Well, that too. Have you seen that? That's not happening.
Yeah.
Aqua, as in man. aqua jogging, and it's actually really cool, and it's comfortable because you're not surrounded by 20-somethings doing their fucking blah 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 shit. It's
Nobody likes them.
No, it's people like women older than me, and didn't think that was possible.
There
did
are?
you? Yeah,
Okay.
fuck off. And it's kind of neat, and it's good exercise, and you can do it for quite some time, and you don't really wear out, which is nice.
Is this an indoor pool? Outdoor
Yes,
pool? Okay.
indoor pool, giant pool, damn pool. And so you talk to people, which is what you do. It's what I do. Mm-hmm. And you meet people like friends of friends. Because a friend of mine, Joelle, who I've known we grew up together in California.
And she lives in Lebanon now?
Yeah. Her family moved up first. It's Kathleen's sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she lives in the Waterloos. So she's got some friends, and they show up, and we just talk. And they were talking about, because they're in a motorcycle gang.
Like you do.
But not like fucking Hell's Angels. It's I mean, they're rough, but they're not illegal people.
They cook meth light.
They do a lot of good stuff. They do a massive toy run in Christmas time here in Lebanon. They do like massive,
only giant toys.
Big, massive, giant toys. Yeah, it's just tough to carry.
Yeah, especially on a motorcycle.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
So you meet some ladies, and there's a couple of events, and one of the events, of course, is the topless contest, like you do.
Right.
So,
a quick tangent.
What?
we put on Hot Fuzz last night.
Are you talking about the movie, or did you actually put Hot Fuzz on yourself? Because that would be a more interesting topic.
Well, first 6 of one, half dozen the other. That is an immensely watchable, rewatchable.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And I had never caught this before. I don't know how many times I've seen it. So the one old cop who, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I never caught that before.
You never caught that?
No, and then later on, cock.
And also when he goes, finger. Yeah, look for that next time.
Okay.
Where Nick Frost goes, when Simon Pegg is reiterating, like, okay, this is what's happened. The recap.
Yeah.
And Nick Frost will go, finger. Because remember he fingered her behind the whatever?
That's right, yeah.
Look for that one.
I
That's
did
my
catch
favorite.
him doing that.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
That's
Anyway.
great stuff. Anyway, back.
So anyway.
Topless bikers.
Yeah, and there's like, hit contests, whatever. And
so you're in.
Yeah, so I just signed the fuck up right there. Mm-hmm. No, but the weird thing is, that's okay. But out of the same person's mouth came how all those things happening in Hollywood was because how the women are dressing and acting in movies.
Oh.
And I'm like, I let it go.
Yeah.
I let it go.
Sure.
Because I'm like, wait, what?
That's a way homer. You'll get it on the way home.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make that person any less of a nice person.
No.
It was just the super amount of hypocrisy that happened within a 30-minute period was just astounding.
Yeah. That's great.
I was like, so that's okay. Flashing tits in a contest is fine.
Right. Because it's competition.
But wearing a low-cut dress to the Oscars is what's causing...
That's the problem? Huh.
I just found it interesting.
So
this
it's
person
causing
listens
guys
to-
like Harvey Weinstein to act that way because
Apparently.
if these women wore burlap sacks up to their neck,
Yeah.
then he could control himself.
Yeah. I mean, unless, I mean, if this person decides to listen to the podcast, that's fine. It's nothing against her personally.
Okay.
It was just an amazing amount of hypocrisy in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
That was stunning to me.
Well, and there needs to be more going on with how you handled that and how you're describing her now versus fuck that bitch. This is a person who has an opinion that's not the same as mine,
Right.
maybe, or almost certainly politics that aren't the same as yours.
Oh, yeah,
But
probably.
it's okay.
Yeah.
We can be friends.
Yeah.
Be together here.
Now, sometimes, though, I got to go, not her, but some people, I just go, wow, that is like, I could not be friends with our president.
Oh, no.
Too many, making fun of people who are disabled and
I've
making
come
fun
to the
of war
realization
heroes,
that
and
he might not be a good guy.
You think?
I don't know.
I'm leaning that way.
It's coming, yeah. It's possible.
And we don't do the politics much, but I'm just saying that, there's some people, though, that I probably could not befriend. And,
Right.
I mean, when you say befriend,
Yeah, you don't have to hang with these people.
No,
It's also, it doesn't mean that they should be taken off the earth or anything like that.
no. Well,
Yeah. So the biker thing made me remember. So we long-time listeners have known that Mrs. E and I have a tiny car that we restored, and we like to take it to some car shows and drive it around and make people smile and kind of goofy clown shit. So we had our annual car show every year on Father's Day.
Which I missed again.
Yeah.
Because I realized how many miles that shit is to drive. I'm like,
it's a ways.
That's a day trip for me, man. It's like, no way.
And the crazy thing is I drive it both ways in the tiny car.
Well, because you built a really good car.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Well, and the best part is I finally got a few things adjusted on it, and it runs even better. So I was able to go up the hills that I had to struggle up before.
Push.
And I'm out on the highway on Friday night. Go up early, do the thing.
Life is a highway.
Well, I was kind of singing to myself, not that one.
Sorry.
Panama by Van Halen.
No, you didn't.
Well, there's the part where he goes, I reach down between my legs.
I don't want to hear that.
Seat back.
I don't want to hear that come out of your
Well,
mouth.
I reached down between my legs and I eased the seat back, and the fucker went back further. It's been 4,700 miles in 6 years since I restored the car, and I didn't know the seat went back. I had more leg room. It was amazing. What
an epiphany.
It was a fantastic discovery.
And also, what an embarrassment for
you. It was that, too. Yeah, I could have kept it to myself. The silly part, though, is when it's back in the position where you have all this space, now the front seat rests on the horn. If you flip the seat forward to get in or out of the back, so...
Please take a video of that. Talk about a GoPro.
That was comical.
We should do some... We should invest in our own individual GoPros, waterproof GoPros. Got to be waterproof.
Well, yeah, for all your...
My aqua jogging. And just do some really bad, some ridiculous GoPro and post it on our sites. Just, why not?
I could take it under houses with me and whatnot. So, when I did have a good crawl recently, it's been a while. Did you see the picture of the animal arm that
I did.
You
want to tell our listener what that's all about?
So let me finish my first tangent. So the microcar show wound up being super cool, and we had a biker gang show up to kind of participate. But their bikes are these like super chopped mini bikes. I don't know if you've seen these.
Oh,
they're like street legal, I guess, but they're small.
Okay, yeah.
And they're super custom. Like the one this gal had that like there was a glass window in the gas tank, so you could like look and see how much gas you have, I guess. And
that's kind of cool.
They're like full on choppers. So it was a weird dreamy day for the actual car show when people showed up that I didn't expect to come.
Right.
I'm talking to this one guy who knew way too much about my car, and it turns out he was somebody that I've bought stuff from on the internet, who's one of the 4 like gurus of the N600 guys.
Whoa, and that's neat though.
He moved up here and drove all the way up from south of Eugene to come to the car show, and it was then like, hey, dude, you polished my door handles. I sent these to you, and you rekeyed them. So it was a strange.
But that's kind of neat, though.
It was.
That's one of the good things about the nets.
Yeah.
About the interwebs.
Definitely.
One of them.
Yeah. One of the. There are many.
Yeah.
There's a few.
There are.
Yeah.
I just lately though we've talked about this. I'm not really participating in the Facebooks.
Right. Yeah. And you've been able to do that in the past. And a lot of people. It's kind of a weird thing. I know a lot of people will stop and be done. I don't know if this is maybe. This is sort of how you are with smoking.
Now I'm done with that.
But you were able to just be done with it. Did you have a hard time not smoking?
Well, no, because I use Chantix. I cheated and used medication.
Oh, well.
That's what helped with that. But
with the Facebook though, you've been able to stop, pick it up for another couple of years, and then stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh well, you should still. I'm like, no, I know my personality. I have an addictive personality. It's an addiction. It can easily get me down the rabbit hole every night, and not wanting to. In fact, Michael and I are writing a sketch about how if everything happened on Facebook happened in real life.
Oh.
So, like the one guy that goes around, because you can mark things like and wow and stuff. So one guy just goes around going, wow, to everybody. And I mean, just that whole commentary on, come on. Yeah. Right? Or a person who always puts the sad emoji, even though it's really not that bad. Mm-hmm. Like someone just says, oh, I lost my butter knife, sad emoji. What? Really? No. Genocide, sad emoji.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'd say that earned it.
So I get kind of tired of the whole, I don't know. And people don't quite see it the way I see it. And that's fine. They can immerse themselves, all they want in Facebook. But I remember growing up without it. And feeling different. I feel different now because I'm not scrolling every night looking for this, that, and the other thing. The only thing I'm using is for the Tangent Lounge now. I use that because I'm going to stay up on that with the Twitters and all that. But yeah, I am much more comfortable with not wanting to be validated, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
I came to the realization that you get the like or the whatever you're out to get, and then it's always next. I didn't really get anything out of it.
Yeah.
So, but it's helped me kind of put things in perspective as far as like worrying too much about what other people think. Eventually I came to the realization that A, I don't know what other people think. I imagine I know what other people think. So you might as well imagine something good. And B, if there's a narcissism in it, that if I'm that concerned about what other people think, then that ergo means other people should be that concerned about what I think. And that sure as fuck ain't true.
Right.
So then if it's by the commutative property that they shouldn't care what I think, then I shouldn't care what you think, because it makes zero difference either way. And moving on with life.
Transitive property in algebra.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I suck at math. What?
You're correcting me
math.
on the
You
properties?
got mathed, yeah.
I did. I got math.
You were mathed. Well, I know. Well, and a lot of people are like, yeah, but you posted just 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I posted so that people didn't think I was dead, because they know I was sick. And I know that I've gone through, and I've gone, okay, here's my update. I'm fine. I'll see you in a couple months. Yeah. And that's literally all that's going to happen.
So now, how do you spend or fill the hours that you would normally have?
Oh, see, there you
go.
Okay.
Now you're awkward jogging.
Here's, for those of you who actually care about my life, it's aqua jogging, not awkward jogging. Thank you. There's something called reading that the kids aren't doing. Reading, crosswords. I do this one app that has it's like a mini SAT. I do that every night. I do Spanish every night. I'm watching a lot of. I binge watch. Let's be real, because I grew up on TV. The TV doesn't affect my brain.
Okay.
Because I grew up on it.
Right.
I don't really look at that as banning the electric screen, because I grew up on that shit. It's fine. Yeah. So I'll watch some interesting things. Like today, I watched. Is it called The Last Laugh or something? It was about when does comedy go too far, and the central focus was the Holocaust.
Because that was supposed to be funny?
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
No, it's like talking to a lot of Jewish comedians about, who touches the Holocaust. They'll make fun of the Germans, they'll make fun of the Nazis.
Right.
But the actual Holocaust itself, a lot of them will just, even Mel Brooks, he won't cross that line. So they're talking about the line, and they're using the Holocaust as an example of what lines can and cannot be crossed and throughout history. Yeah. Like, Springtime for Hitler, when it first came out, was like appalling.
Sure.
Because it was only 20 years after World War II, right? Now it's charming.
Yeah.
Everyone sings along. And it's time. It's all about time.
Yes.
But the Holocaust is traditionally hands-off, unless it's Sarah Silverman did this great joke. And I'm not even that big of a Sarah Silverman fan. I mean,
She's had her moments.
Yeah, I don't she's horrible. I just don't, whatever. But she said this great joke. She goes, she's talking to the desk. She goes, the Holocaust, okay, alleged Holocaust. And she sticks in and that, some people took that as legit.
Oh my gosh.
And it's because they're not smart.
Well,
right?
People are looking for a reason to be offended. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But in actuality, it was funny because it's a commentary on the people who really think it did not happen.
Right, exactly.
So when you have to explain comedy, it's done. Yeah. It's over.
Nope.
There's no... Yeah. So it was really fascinating. I think it's called The Last Laugh. I mean, they interviewed David Cross, they interviewed Mel Brooks, Carl Reiner.
All Jews.
All of the Jewy. Mm-hmm. Sarah Silverman, Jeffrey Ross. It's really a wonderful, wonderful, and Holocaust survivors.
Oh.
They focused on one lady who was a survivor, and she goes to schools and talks about what happened and how there's genocide in the world right now, but nobody's paying any attention. Mm-hmm. Rwanda, I mean, everything. There's literally thousands of people being killed every day, and no one's paying attention.
Not funny.
Yeah.
There, I said
Rwanda, not funny. But it's a fascinating documentary. So I'm watching a lot of trippy, cool documentaries. I'm catching up on old Twilight Zones. Like, all the Twilight Zones are on Hulu now. All the MASHes are on Hulu now. I'm like, because Alan Alda was my first crush when I was in second grade.
Perfectly normal.
It was, because I watched MASH literally from 1972 till it's done in 1981. Uh-huh. I watched that from second grade through my junior year of high school.
Used to be one of the only things we got out in the boondocks where I lived.
Was MASH?
Yeah.
Well, it was reruns at that point.
Oh, yeah. 2 to 3 a night, something like that.
Oh, this was like the orig.
Oh, as it was running.
Oh, well, yeah. It came out in 1972. And I was in second grade. And we watched the first episode, and I was hooked.
Wow.
As basically a baby.
Yeah.
And I would have, I'm in love with Alan Alda dreams. Like cute little,
Now they're your cheese nightmares.
Yeah. That's a great name for a band. We're Cheese Nightmare. Good night.
Yay.
But no, he was my first crush.
Right on.
And he's the only octogenarian that I would do.
Oh.
It's that strong.
The only one.
Only one.
Not Mel Brooks?
He's a nonagerian, whatever, 90-something years old.
Okay, so you'd still do
so
that.
maybe Mel.
Yeah.
Maybe Mel. But Alan Alda, he, for some reason, had he and I been born at the same time, I would have crushed hard on him.
Oh.
I would have married Alan Alda.
You would have moved to Crabapple Cove.
But MASH is such a fucking cool I mean, I got a lot of my timing and my humor influence from Alan Alda, Carol Burnett, and Monty Python. Somewhere like pretty much between the age of 7 to 12. I watched a lot of those shows. And Bugs Bunny.
Obviously you were a funny kid, but were you able to drop stuff in with your family and were you appreciated in your own time, or was it kind of like, come on, I'm giving you gold here?
I'm giving you gold. Yeah. It was fine. Yeah. I didn't actually use the humor in school until I was in, I think, 4th grade is when I started to cultivate. I think, 4th or 5th grade, because I remember being at Julie Kappas' birthday party and making the entire party crack up. And I realized, all right,
I got this.
I'm in.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what got me through a lot of things. I'm spitting right now.
Okay.
Sorry. It's old.
Old spit.
You just leak from places.
I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah. Check your chair. But yeah, it was,
that chair could be your chair.
Yeah, but yeah, I used humor a lot, and it was, and I had dreams of being on Saturday Night Live when I was in junior high.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I hadn't been lazy, or quite frankly scared,
and occasionally stoned. Let's be honest.
In high school, yeah. I didn't like the idea of moving to a large city, even though I only lived like 15 minutes outside of San Diego. It was different growing up in Chula Vista because it was small when I was small, and it grew when I grew. And San Diego, I knew my way around. It was a metropolis, but I knew my way around. It was easy. But for some reason, the stigma or the mythos about LA and New York, even though we went to LA a lot, I just couldn't.
Oh, I was 100% the same way.
Yeah.
I've had a very small town mentality. Right out of high school, attempted to go to college and freaked out and came home. Yep. Made it a day. I just, up until I met Mrs. E, really, the idea of being away, once she became my home in my life, I could go anywhere she goes and have been fine ever since. But had I grown up listening to podcasts and hearing how to go about the industry, I don't know if I might have given it a try. I wouldn't have done very well because I had that small town mentality, but it definitely expands the mind, the idea of how to go and do these things. Cause I don't know how to fucking start a checking account. How do you go out and do any of these things? And now people do them and they talk about how it happened for them. And
I kept going because when I was still in college at San Diego State, I did a production of Lysistrata there. And the guys from Sledgehammer were the fringe theater where you got paid.
Oh.
Right? They came to see the show because my director / professor had done work with them before.
Sure.
They came to see the show. Then they asked me to audition. I got it. I did 4 shows with them. I think it was 4.
Get paid?
Oh, yeah. Each time.
Right on.
And then San Diego Repertory Theater, which is a big theater, came to see me in one of the Sledgehammer shows, called me up, says, can you come and audition for this?
Yeah.
And I auditioned poorly because it was a horrible script. I walked in, I'm like, it was a stage version of Animal Farm. Yeah, they wanted me to read for a cow. I'm like, pardon me? And I was thin at that point. I'm like, wow. But I didn't do well because it was horrible. However, had I kept going, I would have worked my way into equity, and I think by that time I would have grown and matured and maybe had the chutzpah to go. But I was dumb, and I just dropped out of the whole thing and just worked a job after I graduated just so I could pay car payment and shit. Yeah. I had zero life. It was like, wow, I am doing nothing with my life. And so when I finally decided to move to Arizona because my parents had moved 3 years prior and I was still living on the property. My brother had bought it. I was living in a cabin behind the house. And
like the Unabomber.
Yeah, right? I love hoodies. But
so wear them backwards.
When there was a shooting up the street, I think we talked about this before, shooting up the street, I went, I'm done. This is not the city I grew up in.
Yeah.
This is not
is this the same place you live next to the serial killer?
Yeah. But that's
okay.
when I was a baby.
Yeah, that was quaint.
That was quaint. It was good.
He didn't use a gun.
Yeah, there's some humor there.
Yeah.
But and I went, okay, this is not. I mean, when you have to hit the floor in your own house because there's a guy firing rounds 2 houses up.
Well, yeah.
And shoots the dog.
Your dog?
No, next door neighbor's dog. Because it was barking. It lived. It was fine. But
good.
goddamn.
Yeah.
So I called my dad the next
manners.
day. I'm like, I got to get out of here, Dad. I go, I only have a job. I'm not interested in where I'm at.
What were you doing for your job?
I was working as in a consumer research firm for I was a phone person asking
That sounds like you.
Well, we also did in-person focus groups, so I'd run those, but it was nothing. Right? It was weak. It was weak. So what do you do with a theater degree, right?
Yeah.
So I go, Dad, I gotta get out. And my boyfriend at the time, who I thought I was going to marry, by the way, dumped me. And the dog I adopted literally ran away the next day. It was a bad country western song.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I went, I'm out. Dad's like, sure, of course you can come here. So my friends and I moved my shit to Cayman, Arizona.
How long a drive was that?
6 hours.
Would you drive back to hang out with friends?
In San Diego?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But I got there and I just kind of chilled. I needed to go, okay, I need to take stock in my life. I need to figure out what the hell's going on. Because I'm smart and I've got something. I need to know what it is. And at that point I was 32, I guess, or something.
Mm-hmm.
31, 32, whatever. So I was a welfare caseworker for a year. Oh, God, that was wretched.
I can imagine.
And then I saw an ad for a newspaper for a brand new school. Long story short, I've been teaching for 18 years.
Boom.
And I found out what I was supposed to be doing the whole time. I should have known.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So I didn't really start taking off. I mean, everything was good up until I graduated college. And then there was that time period of about 5 years where I'm like, there's nothing going on in my life, man. I got to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So then it picked back up again when I decided to move.
Yeah.
Same thing when I left Arizona. Same situation. I was like, I was teaching, blah, blah. I've always wanted to live in Oregon. I had the opportunity. I seized it. I left. And then even more opportunity for growth and meeting people like you and Mrs. E and going back into theater again. Because I was teaching.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Exactly.
Plus there was no theater.
Well.
I think I did there was some small teeny community theater my first year there. I did a couple shows. But for the most part, 8 years of the 9 I was there, I did no theater. I taught it.
Yeah.
Directed little kids or high schoolers, but I couldn't do it. I had no artistic outlet. And that's why one of the things I swore, when I move here, I'm going to get on every motherfucking theater mailing list. And within less than a month, I'd already hooked up with a lobby reading for John Elliott.
Oh, nice.
He's one of the first people I contacted for Hedda Gabler, and I ended up being in it.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So I got that sort of, my chutzpah goes up and down.
Yeah.
It's weird. Do you have that? Do you have that where it's like, bow, 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 and all of a sudden you're like, fucking, just, it's dry county.
Far as just energy in your life, you mean?
Just
or?
Motivation or because you're super, super content with La Familia. Mm-hmm. I mean, you and Mrs. E and the Pooge. That's your family. That's your thing. Your house is a Disneyland.
I am real fortunate in the contentment, satisfaction in life. Before I met her, I was always searching for the one to be. I always wanted to be married since I was a kid,
really?
But I didn't want to just be married.
That's going to be awkward at 5.
It was a little, you walk around the ring. I didn't want to just be married, but I was always very romantic in heart and wanted to be with that person. So it was always, try and find that person. And I was in a couple long-term relationships that I wanted them to last, but it just wasn't meant to be, thankfully.
Right.
But at the same time, I was trying to fight my nature. I was saying, what is it about being with someone that is the end all be all? And the people around you are kind of worried about you, that you're, codependent or something, that if this is your focus in life, you really need to be satisfied and happy with yourself, is what you're being told. And I'm like, well, yeah, but
not everybody can. I mean, I can now.
Yeah.
I can now. I discovered that. I'm like, yeah,
well,
I like it.
A great place to be.
But I before I wasn't, though, because before I thought I was supposed to get married.
Yeah.
But
well, and it turns out that was what I needed, and that was my life, and and I didn't need to go doing a lot more searching after that, which is really nice, because I think if you were with somebody that was constantly like, yeah, you're great and all, but I'm really looking for this other thing, then
that's not.
It might not be the best.
I'm gonna burp. Sorry.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, the theater stuff I did, I enjoyed. But I feel I've had, everything's been in a really easy, lucky perspective for me. I don't have any desire to be famous. I don't have any desire to look, if I had the opportunity to go act right now with maybe even with guaranteed success, if somebody could say, there's a place for you right now in LA, you go do this, you will be.
I would jump on that in a fucking heartbeat.
And at a time of my life. I would
jump on that shit right now.
At a time of my life, I would have. But now, for me, it's momentum. It's when you talk about your chutzpah going up and down, I don't have to worry about that, because even though not every day of work is the greatest, there's momentum behind it. Every day I'm getting up and going and doing the same thing, which we all do. But every day I'm driven to because it costs so much for me to be there, I have to always at every minute be on, trying to accomplish, get this done, move it on.
You're good at it.
And I try to be. And
you're good at it. Give yourself that.
But every day is a challenge. I have to try to be good at it. It doesn't just happen. And by that, I don't know if that gives me the artistic fulfillment that I'm looking for or whatever. But I haven't missed theater since I left it, and I'm not really pursuing anything artistic right now. But if I have time to do a project at home, that's an outlet. There's something I'm building with my hands or whatever. But that daily, the projects that I do every day at work are. They provide that. I'm building something. I can stand back, turn it on, watch it.
Well, in the garage, you're bricking up that delivery man behind the wall.
Yeah,
that's very.
It's a slow process. I mean, you get to see the worm start, and then collect the fluid.
Come on! When did we want to went somewhere?
So when we I think the last record we were talking about how, and if it wasn't in the record, it was when we got together for dinner, that I was going to do a job at the beach.
Yes.
And I was thinking, this is the job where Gary gets fucked, because
well,
I had so I was.
I'm not farting. I'm actually just making butt noises.
Right ahead. Feel free.
It's not a fart. It's like my butt is on your.
I'm not here to judge.
Wooden bar stool.
We got proposed from a customer, calls up one day and says, hey, I've got this house at the beach. I'd like to have you guys come do some work there. Like, and then he's going over the top with, you can bring your family and you can enjoy the house and stay and have a great time. And at first I'm like,
you can build on your own wing.
Yay. So I'm thinking, oh, Yahtzee, this will be kind of fun. And I had to juggle some stuff because I've got like jury duty going on at that time and everything else. And we make it all happen. And the guy starts emailing me constantly about, oh, I need this and this and this. And I want things to be done this way. And I want some of the plugs and stuff to be this color. And then other ones are this color. And it's like, dude. And I'm not charging him a nickel for any of this shit. It's just all consultation before I'm getting ready to go. And it was getting a little irritating. And then I was thinking, well, I'm not going to charge him to drive to the beach, which we charge drive time anyway. But this is a 3-hour one-way drive. He's up in Manzanita in the North Coast.
Okay.
And so I'm going to go over on a Sunday night, which we did. Have a nice dinner at his place, which we did. And then Monday morning, I get up early and I start cranking on his house. He wants all the lights and plugs changed, all the switches changed. It was a fairly good-sized, time-consuming project.
Right.
Mrs. E got to come with me, which was great. She's usually too busy at home, but then we had to get a dog sitter because the guy didn't allow dogs, and it became a huge fucking thing.
And that's when I spoke up and went,
well, after.
Duh.
Yeah. We'll keep you in mind next time. So we get this gal over. We stay the night here twice, and
I do it for free.
It all worked out in the end. But
guys, what you're hearing is that Gary doesn't want me anywhere near his private
bong water.
No.
Yeah, no.
No, I was saying
legal.
Gary doesn't want me anywhere near his house. Basically.
That's basically what it was.
That's what it is.
So we do the whole thing, and it worked out really nice because it was a lot like being home. Me working on house projects and her on her computer doing her work, and it was just super pleasant. And so this house is chalet style with like the A-frame, super tall inside ceiling. I had a 12-foot ladder. I was standing on effectively the very top of it, so I'm like 16 feet in the air doing stuff. I changed this ceiling fan. He had to go drive 45 miles to get a down rod to make it good. Do the whole thing, put it together, pack up 2 long days, and then a 3-hour drive home at the end of the second day so I could get up to work and go to work the next morning. I get 35 miles from the house and something pings in my head of, fuck, I shouldn't have done that.
Like
ceiling fans, light fixtures, all electrical stuff has to be in a junction box.
Okay.
Makes perfect sense. The ceiling fan I took down was right up against the beam. They just screwed the bracket for the fan right up to the wood, which is a super solid connection. You're not going to lose the fan. It's not going to fall off the ceiling like that. So my brain went, let's just do that again because that was the way it was.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. I do that. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm driving away and I get to Tillamook and my brain goes, what the fuck did I do? I've got wire and splices right up against this wooden beam and no box. The canopy of the fan, the little fan cover thing covered. I mean, you couldn't see it. It looked really nice. So it came out great. But here's this code violation that I left because my brain just didn't do it. So and I came to the realization that in my work and everybody's work, we make 10,000 little decisions all the time, every day. And sometimes we don't make the right call. Well, that was one of those times. And my first thought was, it'll be fine. Nothing's ever going to happen. No big deal. Just move on. And I drive it like another block. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be getting up at 4 tomorrow morning. I'm going to be sitting in the hot tub thinking, and it's going to bug me. And then sometimes you can go back and fix something. This was a 3-hour one-way drive, which required a 12-foot ladder, which I can only haul on the boss's rig, which he was paying for the gas. There is no fucking way I could ever fix this. So I turned around, drove 35 miles back, and I fixed it. And thank God I did, because the brain didn't have to sit there and give me an ulcer for having done the wrong thing. Something that I get reminded of on very rare occasion, but if I knowingly do an installation wrong and it causes a fire, I can go to jail.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I could lose my license, and B, be prosecuted for it.
I couldn't deal with. I'm sorry, I'm eating cheese because I'm sorry, I have to.
Okay,
I'm on a weird dietary
ketogenic whatever.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, point being, I went back and fixed it. Moving on.
Yeah.
With the cheese mouth.
Oh, sorry. There's another sketch that we're writing.
Okay.
It's on the because there are so many diets.
Oh yeah.
So many deadly ones, to be honest.
Yeah, that arsenic diet. You really shouldn't. I mean, you'll lose weight, and you won't put it back on.
Yeah, the Tide Pod one is very popular.
Yeah, and condom snorting.
But no, there's a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of unhealthy diets. Most of fad diets are unhealthy. Period.
Right, because you can't eat fad.
You'll lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you're dying slowly. I mean, there's really...
Right.
Okay.
Necrotic flesh weighs less than healthy flesh.
So we have a sketch, and it's called Eating Something. And it goes on about all these different fad diets, like the keto diet, and the stand of this diet, and the Atkins diet. And you see this little guy wearing his members-only jacket, sitting on a bench, having his lunch. And all these like fad people in their gym clothes are walking by and going, what's he doing? He goes... I'm just eating something. And now eating something becomes the next thing. Fad. Yeah. So
nice.
So that's gonna be a good one.
All right.
The eating something.
I like it.
But the whole thing about thinking you forgot something and driving back.
Mm-hmm.
My first like 2 or 3 weeks maybe, I don't know. I was working for this online school. My first year, we had to work in an office versus at home, and we all had like veal fattening pens, cubicles. Mm-hmm. And I used to keep a scented candle in mine because, it was for stress and all that stuff. Yeah. And my cubicle was right near the shitter. So anytime the dudes had their post-lunch dump, they'd leave the door open and I would have like fragrant shit.
How nice.
Yeah.
And you work at home now, why?
Anyway, so I'd blow out the candle and I'd leave. Well, for some fucking reason, man, I get off at 4 o'clock and I drive my 20 minutes home. And like at 10 o'clock at night, all of a sudden I go,
I left the candle burning.
So I thought I could not get to sleep until I hopped in the car at 10:30 at night, drove 20 minutes to the office to see whether or not the candle was on.
Wow.
It wasn't.
How many times did you do that?
Once.
Yeah.
And that's how like anal retentive I can be about like I mean, as free flowing as I seem to be, there's things that are wrong that I go, and I panic.
Yeah, well, you could burn the building down. That could be a problem.
Yeah. And I get saying, oh, brand new job, burn the building down. Oh, your phone just went, ooh.
We just got motion at the front door, people. I think the puppy might be coming home.
Oh, shall we?
Let me hit a quick pause.
You're listening to The Tangent Lounge with Electric Gary and Dorrie, just Dorrie, and we're available on Podbean and Stitcher and iTunes and Gmail and all that shit at Tangent Lounge. Give us a listen and maybe a review.
Anyway, we're back. Weeze came home, has been playing at the pool next door.
Farted on me twice?
Yeah, there's something. She doesn't do that without you here. I don't know what it is.
I told you, did I say this on the mic about the genetics?
I don't know if you did, but you can go quick with it.
Yeah. My mom had an uncanny sensor. I don't know. It was put in her body at birth. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we did because I brought up the dog whistling my ass. So,
was that on the air?
I think it was, yeah.
Am I having dementia right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to call this an episode, and we got stay tuned for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Tune in to the next episode and the last episode because we're talking about fascinating shit here, people. And
as far as we know.
As far as we know.
Yeah.
We keep talking.
We're rad.
Yeah.
We should be famous, goddammit.
So I'm Gary.
I'm Dorrie, just Dorrie.
And that's the Tangent Lounge. We have been lounged.